Laurel had asked me to do a recording about a little story I thought of. I needed to prove that just because you were 82, it didn't mean you were losing your memory. And so I thought back, and I guess maybe 6 decades ago, maybe 7, I had a friend in school whose nickname was Judy. And when I got to know Judy, she said, you know, that really isn't my name. My name is a little longer than that. You see, I'm a Greek gal. And I said, okay, what is your name? And she said, Eftikia Henovepa Georgano Hasapulu. And I said, oh boy, if I can remember that from 6 or 7 decades ago, Laura wouldn't dare say that I was losing my memory. And while I was thinking of my memory, other things popped into my mind, especially about my wonderful church, Westminster Presbyterian, in St. Louis. But back to another memory. When I went back to school after my first husband left, my mother said, oh, you'll get to meet someone. And I said, Mother, I'm a little older than the students. Remember, I've been married. I've got 3 kids now. Oh, no problem, said Mother. I just hoped that in the parking lot you would meet a daddy who had brought his daughter to school. And that settled that one. Our pastor at Westminster Church was Pastor McCorkle. He was, at that time, the most decorated chaplain in the service. And that was quite an honor. But you know, sometimes an honor doesn't save you too well, because not long after he received that wonderful word, he was preaching his heart out at a funeral service at the gravesite, and the next thing he knew, he had fallen backwards into the open grave. And then I remembered at Westminster Church a man who said, you know, they say that your sins will find you out, and it certainly worked with me. And I said, what do you mean? He said, when I was young, I spent a lot of time in the bars. I actually created a drink that became so popular that they gave it a name. They gave it my name, and my name is Tom Collins. So he said it has followed me forever. And then there was the night of my wedding at Westminster Church, when Dad suddenly discovered someone had taken the wicks out of the candle lighters. So he had to scurry down to the basement, find a couple of candles, and peel them down to the wick, and then insert the wick in the candle lighters. Oh, Daddy, oh, Daddy. And then the story goes that one day the King of England was going through St. Louis. Suddenly he said, stop the carriage. I've never seen a more beautiful church. And he was looking at Westminster Presbyterian Church, our church at that time. Oh, was that an exciting story. One day my mom and Dad met a couple visiting at our church. The next week the same couple came back, and Dad said, oh, I'm so glad you came back, Mr. Pig. And Mr. Pig said, thank you for welcoming us back. But let me tell you, my name is not Pig, it's Mr. Hog. One day, Dad was talking to someone at church, and he said, my wife has gone away for a week to study women's work, and she left me at home to do the women's work. There was a time when we had a group of middle school kids together, and the teacher said, "Who can tell me a proverb?" One little boy's hand shot up in a hurry, and he said, "I can. If you drink, don't drive. If you drive, don't drink." One day I walked into my classroom, and that day I had on a wig that one of my students had given me for Christmas. And the little boy had already come into the room. He looked up at me and said, "Oh no, the wig again." My brother was so glad that before Mother went out of town for a few days, she got his new pants with a perfect hem. So on Sunday he put the pants on and found out very fast that Mom had shortened the same leg of the pants 2 times. And it didn't help much when I said, "Oh, Bill, go ahead and wear the pants. Who would notice?" There was a family at our church that had 2 very handsome sons, Hal and Al. And I figured, well, if I didn't capture Hal, there would be Al to work on. 2 very handsome sons. Now, this was an interesting family. The mother of Hal and Al once told us, she said, "My uncle, Goodsum Borglum, has done an exciting thing. He has created Mount Rushmore." And that really excited me, that we actually knew someone. There was a couple in our church, and the man had very black hair, and the wife's hair was absolutely white. And I thought to myself, goodness gracious, can't she get her hair settled so she doesn't look like his mother? Well, time rolls on, and now my hair is very grayish white. And frankly, I don't have the energy to get my hair color changed. So now I think I understand Mrs. Brand better than I did before. We always chuckle at Pastor McCorkle. When he preached, he often lost his hands in the flowing sleeves of his preaching gown. And one day Mother couldn't handle it anymore. She made him a miniature, solid black preaching gown, and she put cuffs on the flowing sleeves so that he wouldn't have that trouble anymore. One time my brother came to Florida to visit my mom, and she said, "Oh, Bill, I know one of your daughters and her friend are coming in 2 weeks. I got a wonderful box of very nice chocolates to surprise them." And Bill looked at her and said, "Oh, Mom, what do young kids know about good chocolate?" And Brother Bill immediately unwrapped the package and began to enjoy it. One time, when Bill was little, Mom took him shopping, and Bill said, "Oh, Mom, could I buy this?" "No, son, not today." A little later, "Mom, could I buy this?" "No, son, not today." This happened a couple of more times, and finally Bill said to her, "Mom, I didn't come to look, I came to buy." One time Mary came home from school, and I guess it was the 4th or 5th time that she announced, "I'm now going steady with someone in my class at elementary school." And with a perfectly straight face, my mom said, "Mary, does he know it yet?" So I guess that's enough of my memories that I dragged up, some of them during the middle of the night, but I figured I'd add all this on Laurel's video to prove to her that my memory is not quavering at all. It's perfectly healthy. Love you.